Go for it.
So I'll have you know at this DJ gig, and I think you most certainly will appreciate this. At this DJ gig last Friday, I did get in, and then what? By Young Jeezy.
Hey.
I don't know if you saw that video on my story when I said the whole bar, the whites, the blacks, the Asians, everybody was like, first I'm gonna stack some dough, and
And
then
then
what?
what?
Then I'm gonna stack some more, and then what? I was like, oh, we here.
I dare anyone to find me a better rookie album.
Say what?
I dare anyone to find a better rookie album than Thug Motivation 101.
Snoop Dogg, Doggy Style.
No.
Yes.
No.
Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City. If you don't consider Section 80 an album.
Still going to go with Thug Motivation.
50 Cent, Get Rich, Die Trying.
Now, okay, I'll listen to that one.
Reasonable Doubt.
Nope.
All right, come on. What are we talking about here?
Thug Motivation, 0 skips. Every song is a banger. Every song was a hit.
That first Justin Bieber album was solidified.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 155 of Speak On It.
I'm lying?
I've never
Yo, you
listened
think
to
Justin Bieber be appropriating the culture?
Yes. Him
Really?
and Post Malone. 1A and 1B.
Justin Bieber really got some bops, though.
Honorable mention, Iggy Azalea.
I give my peaches. I give my girl my peaches. Nah, nah, nah. You like that song?
Yeah, it was a banger. But I feel like he does the same thing Drake does. Like you just go to Atlanta when you need some, because you get the joint with Quavo and Khaled. Well, that's Khaled's song, so okay, I won't give him that. He had the song with Luda.
Well, what about what about Justin's solo records though? Come on. What do you mean when
that's
you
a banger?
want to say yes?
But that's not him appropriating anyone's culture. That's him being a pop star.
Hold on, he got a few, but he got some. Hold on, that Purpose album. Oh, sorry, love yourself. Come on now. And if you like the way you look at much, well, baby, you should go and love it. Hold on, wait a minute. You just gave me an idea.
We not playing Justin Bieber here. No, sir.
Why not?
Why?
You know what? I might play this weekend. Anyway, back to the story. Listen, when that Jeezy went up though, oh yeah. Then I went from that to the Lean With It, Rock With. I mean, I was bringing back. It was a 2000s party. I was bringing back like the.
Can you send? Do you have that? Do you have that list available?
Here's the craziest thing about this DJ set. I'll tell you right now, that was the best DJ set I've ever done in my life. So
of course, it was.
My favorite set is my next one.
But do you have that 2000 set that you can share with us?
Here's the thing. So I got there, and the person I was DJing with, their DJ set. Mine is more like an external controller. Theirs is like a full all-in-one internal controller. So it's more like club-like. They're more so working off CDJ.
Okay.
So I mean, I picked it up very fast. But when I tried to plug it into my computer, I didn't have that version of the Serato DJ software that I needed. So I had to plug my hard drive into her computer and use her computer. And then I didn't want to just like record my mix on her computer. That's weird.
Okay.
So
I can understand that.
But boy, I can tell you, it felt like. Listen, it felt like. I'm trying to think of a good game. It felt like KD versus the Bucks when he won the game. That game. Remember that as a person that
yes.
One of the 2 games they won that series when it was like a Kevin Durant game. He had to pop out and show you know who's. It was one of them.
Okay, that was your KD bar. Okay, I wish that 2000 set sounds like something to behold.
Listen, I can get it on too. But I will say, and I love your thoughts on this, and I'll let you have the floor.
Yeah.
So if it's a 2000s themed party, how many songs do you get in that era before you maybe make it a little more? Because you want to mix in the old. Because eventually I did get some. I will tell you, I went. A young lady came and asked if I could play beat King We Outside. No, not beat King We Outside. She asked to play Anicia and Lotto Back Outside. Of course, I played it, but as soon as I heard it, I was like, you know what? Also, we'll work with this a little Beat King. Well, since we outside, then we got to go to the guy who's outside, which is Beat King, R.I.P.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I
can
would
tell you,
say
when I got that off, there was.
So are people like dancing, or is it people like vibing? Oh, they was dancing. They was busting wide open.
Like I set the vibe. So it was when I got on, it was like, all right, we getting to it. Like, you know what I mean?
People dancing is always a good sign.
I go back to that. Listen, the clip that was playing in my head, the audio that was playing in my head was Dame Lillard. I ain't come here to play. You know what? Listen. You know what? Let me listen. Go ahead.
You walked out slapping your wrist, telling me it was D time.
Listen. Go. Listen. Hold on. Hold on. Come on. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay.
Areno, you wait a minute. What is his name? Say this name. Urinal Uger?
They just want to know what we talking about.
Hold on, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Talking about the mindset that I was in. I'm telling you. When I got behind him, listen, when I touched behind that and it was time to be DJ, I had Dame Lillard in the back of my mind. You know what? I don't even need the audio. I'll say it, basically. I ain't come here to play. I put in the work. I did not come to play. We came in to do one job. We had a chance to get in. And guess what we did?
You got in.
We got in.
Kick the door in.
Go ahead. I know you wanted to start us off with a little sort.
Well, first, let's see if we can help out CJ and we will call you Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. Thanks for joining us.
Aaron, thanks for joining us. So he says the lineup is Purdy, Brees, ETN, Rashad White, Devontae Adams, Aiyuk, Kittle, Jake Moody is his kicker in the Ravens D. Do I start Terry McLaurin and Keon Coleman over either of my wide receivers?
I would start Scary Terry, especially now that Jahan Dotson's gone. Like Terry's going that passing game.
I would also start Terry McLaurin over over Keon Coleman. I think Terry McLaurin is the clear number one wide receiver. I also think when you look at the other receiving options in Washington, I mean, yes, they're serviceable, but it's clear who the number one alpha is, and he'll have an upgrade at quarterback from what I've been hearing about Jaden Daniels. I mean, he's been playing very well, so I would probably go Terry McLaurin there. I think who did the Commanders start off against?
I'd have to check.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, but I think it's not a bad squad overall, though. I'm not upset.
They start against the Buccaneers in Tampa.
I'm not upset. I think.
Well, Todd Bowles usually does a number on rookie quarterbacks. I would start Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's receivers get a lot of yak opportunities, so his little 3-yard bubble screens turn into 70-yard touchdowns rather quickly.
Will Christian McCaffrey be in the lineup?
Yeah, he'll be. I think he will. Debo's there. I don't know about Aiyuk though, right? Like everything, we're going to talk about the NFC North and NFC East tonight and our NFC playoff schedule. Like all my playoffs are contingent upon if Brandon Aiyuk is a 49er. We still don't have an answer to that.
Do you you know what? I know you had something to start with. You had a story before I get into it because it's kind of related in a similar fashion. So I kind of have one of my own, but I don't want to take away from your story.
No, we can save it for the end. Where we're at.
Well, so I was watching the Pat McAfee show this morning, and that's irrelevant. I was actually on Twitter, and I was looking at some clips. I don't know if you've been seeing any of the trailers for this documentary that they're doing on the sign stealing scandal that they were covering in Michigan.
Oh, no.
They were, kind of showcasing some of the footage of them, like the NCAA investigating Connor Shaw and him talking about it. Yo, let me tell you something. And I wish Bam was here because I want to firstly apologize to the University of Michigan. Because when I was watching the Pat McAfee show as foremented, I saw a speech Firstly, let me set the stage here. Bam was right when he said sign stealing in college football and in any football where you cannot talk to the quarterback in the helmet like you do in the NFL, sign stealing is happening all the time. So there was a speech on the Pat McAfee show, and he was talking about, who was speaking was the defensive coordinator from the University of Arkansas. And he was basically, Danny, when I talk about, he was going to in depth about how basically they had played either SMU or TCU at a previous school. Because he's at UCF, so he was playing SMU or TCU, and basically they kind of knew their calls. So then he hit the guy up afterwards and was like, "Hey man, why don't you tell me how much of my stuff did you have?" He said, "Oh, we had it all. Like we had it all the signs." And they got to discoursing it more inside the documentary, some of the clips. Man, it is sign stealing. When I say like every program does it, every program does it. One thing that the defensive coordinator from Arkansas said was, if you're dumb enough to keep your signs the same,
you get what you get.
You get what you get. So back to my man over at Michigan, though, because while I apologize for Bam on the aspect that everyone has been sign stealing, yes, this guy right here, this guy was a psychopath. Imagine if everybody knew how to cheat, but this guy knew how to cheat the best. So basically, this guy, he was a staffer for Michigan, but he had some previous military backgrounds. He had a good knowledge of memory. And essentially, he figured out a way from the sideline to start being able to read signs, like everyone else was doing. And then basically he was coming up, like he was basically paying for, because the rules say if you're a coach or affiliated with a team, you can't go record other schools play. But that doesn't mean you can't buy tickets, give it to someone else, and if they go to the game and they just so happen to record something, and then they just so happen to send it to you, and you didn't tell them to, you didn't ask them to, but you're not going to tell them no.
Right.
This guy was doing that consistently, and he was able to build out like these massive, massive signal boards, like for every opponent.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But no, I haven't seen who's.
Arkansas defensive coordinator said, literally.
So, who's making this documentary? Is it a Netflix documentary?
Netflix, yeah.
Oh, I haven't. I need to get on top of that. That sounds like
it was really good.
And you shouldn't apologize to Bam, but I'll see Bam this weekend, and I'll let him know if he doesn't show up.
Where are you going to see Bam at?
Bam, I believe Saturday night they're throwing his grandfather a surprise party, so I believe Bam will be in town.
Shout out, Grandpa. What up, Fantasy Sports Docs? He said, "What up, fellas? Been listening to a lot of the old episodes recently, but glad to finally make it to a live episode to say what's up.
Appreciate you.
What's up, SJ Jimp? What's up? Hope we help with your lineup. Of course. What's up, Kyle? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 155 of Speak On It. As always, when you see this Nas fade, it could only be one brother, the good brother, Losty Mix, as always, every Tuesday evening, joined by the smoothest bald head on the East Coast, my good brother, Danny Ocean. How are we doing, my good brother?
We are doing great. I'll plug this into the story. I'll tell you a story that happened to me Saturday that probably changed my life forever.
Do you want to start with it? Do you want to start with it, or do you want to get into some football? You let me know.
This is going to be a jam-packed episode because we're going over NFC East, NFC North. We got some college football, we got some NBA, we got some WNBA, we got some wrestling. So let's get into that, and if we have time at the end, we can talk about what happened to me this weekend at my family reunion.
All right. At the family reunion, who we introduce. Let me ask you a question, because you kind of an old head. So I'm trying to get a look. You kind of an old head. So I'm trying to, if you had a black sitcom theme song, not named Living Single. Like take Living Single off the board, take That's So Raven off the board.
Yep.
Which one are you picking? And I'm talking about songs like
like intro songs. Oh, it's got to be the Wayans Brothers.
To the Tribe Called Quest?
Yeah. I feel like the Wayans Brothers. This is the Cosby Show intro music is great. It is elite.
I ain't playing no Cosby Show.
Exactly.
Listen, I struggle to play some Diddy, but
Oh, so this is for your next set. I understand the question. Yeah, okay. Fresh Prince of Bel Air is a banger, but that's generic. Everyone does that. You got to go deep into the records of like a 227. Um,
227.
227 is an old show from the 90s. Different Strokes. That would be hilarious. Um, Cousin Skeeter. No, people know Cousin Skeeter.
Someone mentioned Cousin Skeeter earlier.
Yeah, the Cousin Skeeter is lit. Oh, you can get the drop from the Bernie Mac one, the Who You With.
What
Do you
about the
remember the
boot?
Bernie Mac show? So the Bernie Mac show, the song starts with him
Who
screaming
you
"Who you
with?
with?" Yeah, yeah. Not the music itself, but
Here's
the
another one that came
actual
to my mind. What about the Boondocks?
the Boondocks. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. We got
Smart
some good
guy. He's a smart guy. Do 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 do. Smart. Yeah, that's a banger.
ones.
Um, hmm,
All right, all right. We got some serviceable ones. We got some
yeah,
serviceable
we got
ones.
some serviceable ones.
Ladies and
Let me
gentlemen, as
chew on
Danny,
that one though.
it's a good one, isn't it? Danny, as Danny mentioned it, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got some football, both NCAA and some NFL. We got some basketball. Later, the WNBA playoffs are about to kick off. We're gonna dive into both the NFC North and the NFC East today. On the back end, we'll talk a little WWE as the Bash in Berlin heads to Germany on Saturday, and
Yep,
then anything else we find a way to talk about. Maybe I might get bored and throw some DJing on the tail
that
end.
works for
Ladies and
me.
gentlemen, I want to let everyone know. Literally, as Danny and I got on for our pre-pro, he caught me on the tail end of some live DJing practice, and I appreciate his patience because he
Oh,
let
you were in
me.
the zone. I don't want to. You don't mess up Jordan when he's shooting free throws or when he's shooting. You just
Listen,
wait. You just
listen.
wait.
Um, Speaking of things Jordan would be disappointed in, let's talk about FSU as we start off our college football talk. Um, Florida State, the guys who are they've been making some uproar. They've been trying to get out of the ACC for a little bit now, right? They've
Right.
said to hell with the ACC. We better than y'all. We don't need the ACC. We ready to move on to bigger and better things. They opened up the season with conference play in Ireland versus Georgia Tech. They lost on a last second field goal, 24-21, I believe was the score. What's up, Jamie? Kyle, we will get to that Packers QB trade later. So I want to get your thoughts as we're a few days away, and Florida State is gearing up to play BC on Monday. What are your thoughts about this upset in their playoff chances and hopes?
This is what's great about a 12-team playoff, right? One loss doesn't ruin you. That's the whole point. So, granted, Florida State is behind the eight ball, and we need to have a conversation about DJ Uyunglele maybe another time. But that's the beauty of the 12-team playoff. One game doesn't ruin you, especially one game in the beginning of the season. If Florida State runs the table or they win the ACC, or even if they're in the ACC championship game, there's going to be a good chance to make the playoff. It's embarrassing, but you can't lose focus, right? Like you can still make the playoff. It's 12 teams. This is the whole point of the 12-team playoff for moments like this. But they should be 100% Bears.
Listen, here's what I'll say. Georgia Tech was a sleeper pick for a lot of analysts coming into that game. I think Georgia Tech is going to be a little bit better than people think. I mean, this was a team that didn't finish. They finished in the top 10 in the top half of the AC in a lot of offensive and defensive categories last season. So listen,
See, like we could be talking December, like, well, that's really not an ugly loss because Georgia Tech, Georgia Tech is ranked 17th right now.
So here's what I'll say. DJU better get it together, or you might be selling insurance soon.
Let me ask you a question.
Talk to me.
Do you think Dabo hate watches when DJ plays?
I think Dabo's somewhere like, see, now y'all see what I was talking about.
So you think he does hate watch in the name of the Lord?
I don't think he hate watching. He's just probably like, God, golly, this kid he just don't got it.
And also, that's what Florida State get
What?
for raising all this hell.
Listen, it must be a Georgia football team thing because they're 0-2 against the state of Georgia last time.
Yeah, it might be a Georgia thing.
Might be a Georgia thing. Speaking of Georgia, as we look ahead to week 1 in college football, it's gonna be some good ones. It is definitely gonna be some good ones. Let's start with Georgia as they're renewing an old-fashioned rivalry. I don't know if y'all remember those old 2010 games between Georgia and South Carolina, but they're getting it right back on. Clemson, I believe, are they at UGA?
I believe so. Or is it at a neutral field? Because this definitely feels like a Peach Bowl game, like the Chick-fil-A one.
Let's see. Clemson versus Georgia. Let's have a look here. Clemson versus Georgia. It's the Aflac kickoff. Oh, it's at the Mercedes-Benz Dome.
Yeah, let's say it definitely sounds like
it totally makes sense for both teams.
Yeah.
So they're playing in Atlanta. It's almost a neutral site game because if you've been to, ladies and gentlemen, this might be the southerner in me talking, but if you know that area, Clemson is not too far from Atlanta, so it's either a very short flight or not a bad drive.
Yeah.
What do you think happens there?
Oh, give me Georgia.
Yeah, me too.
The ACC is so weak, man.
Relax on the ACC. We is not weak. Definitely not weak.
Compared, it is not a premier conference.
Please.
There are 2 premier conferences, and then there's everyone else.
Y'all keep talking. The ACC gonna show y'all.
All right, I hope so. I root for teams in the ACC.
Who you rooting for in the ACC?
You know who I'm rooting for. UVA.
What they about to do this year? Play football?
Barely miss a bowl game.
UNC versus Minnesota. Who do you think wins that one?
I really want to pick UNC, but buddy, Minnesota. It is in Minnesota. I know it's not cold outside, but Minnesota, Big Ten is very physical football. No matter what time of year, they're gonna run the ball. I'm taking Minnesota.
Listen, Mac Brown and these Mac Brown offenses, they're going to put up some points. This might be a barn burner to start the season out. I like UNC in this one, actually. I think UNC is going to be decent this year. Obviously, I don't think they're going to be Tech, but I don't even know if we play them. But I think they're going to be competitive in the ACC. And I think Minnesota, while I do think they've made some improvements and rowed the boat, I like Mac Brown. I like the ACC here. Okay. What about this one? Here we go. Here's a good one. Southern Cal versus LSU. This is, I believe, on Labor Day. It's Monday night.
Yeah, it's
Monday or Sunday. No, Florida State BC's Monday. This is Sunday.
This is Sunday night. Give me LSU.
You like
Caleb Williams is gone. We're going. I don't think that 23% USC not going to be there long.
I like LSU as well. I think LSU's bringing back a little bit of a lot of the talent they had last year. I think they were really good. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I know Jaden's gone, but still, it's LSU.
They still have a lot of talent returning. I think Jaden, obviously he was just destined for the NFL that season last year. So I think when you look at this LSU team and what they got, and second, I think it's the second or third year in. What's the coach's name?
Shoot. Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly. Yeah. I think, Brian Kelly, when you look at his track record, it's like year 2 or 3. He's gotten his recruits in there. I think he's at a place where he's able to get some high quality offense. I like LSU to start off well in this one. And I think this is a neutral site game as well.
I think so too. This definitely feels like another Chick-fil-A kickoff.
What about Penn State in Morgantown versus West Virginia? This is actually, listen, from West Virginia fans, apparently this is like the biggest home opener since like the late 90s for West Virginia. This is a really big game for West Virginia. I'm gonna start off by saying I like West Virginia in the freaking upset.
You can say, because I have West Virginia too. Here's the thing about James Franklin. The 12-team playoff is music to James Franklin's ears, right? Because every year Penn State is never top 4. Say what?
I said underachieve and still make it in, baby.
Yeah, like they're always like 6-7. They always have an ugly loss on their record. It's like, what could have been? This is the kind of game Penn State loses.
Mm-hmm. Let's go down to Florida. Miami. The U is going 2 games. Well, hold on. Let me see if this, because this might be played at Hard Rock Stadium.
While you do that, I'm gonna make this very easy. I will never believe in Miami. I'm taking the Gators.
Really?
You will never, ever, ever until them stripes are gone.
This is bold. They're going 2 games. I have to double check. They are going to Gainesville for this one. So this is a rivalry game in Gainesville, Florida, Miami versus Florida.
Nope. I will not. As long as they got them 3 stripes on that jersey, I'm good. Give me the Gators.
Listen. Although I don't really like Miami to do a lot in the ACC per se, I think they're going to start off well in this game. I like Miami to win this game, actually.
Okay, that's bold.
Right now, they're favorite 2.5 point favorites,
which is crazy on the road in the swamp.
Well, listen, they got Cam Ward now. We'll see. I like it. I like it though. Let's see. TCU versus Stanford. Let's throw a random one out there. Big 12 versus ACC.
Stanford still wishing Andrew Luck will come back. Give me TCU.
Yeah, listen. I like TCU too. I think what's my man's name? Sonny something.
I don't care who it is.
Sonny Dykes. It took him all the way to the national championship game against Georgia a few years ago. Listen, I think this is his 3rd year. Yeah, 3rd year there. Got a little more experience under their belt. I like TCU to go out to California, out to the Bay, and get them a good old fashioned win. Which one? Oh, the College Game Day game. So this is in College Station. Notre Dame going to A&M. That's a big. Listen,
massive.
I think this is a win-win for Notre Dame. One, unless A&M completely falls off the wagon.
Well, we know how A&M starts and how A&M finishes. This is going to look like a good. I have Notre Dame. This is going to look like a good win for Notre Dame for the next 6 weeks, and then when it's time for playoff time, if Notre Dame is fighting for one of those last playoff spots, the quality win column is not going to have A&M in it.
Oh, see, I said what I said because I think A&M is going to win the game, but Notre Dame's going to be the better team down the road.
Listen, okay.
I'm going off my experience playing NCAA, and playing in College Station is not fun, yo. And playing in Columbus, ridiculous.
So who has the best home field advantage in NCAA?
It's like Michigan or Georgia.
Okay, that makes sense.
Speaking of Michigan, do you think with their national championship from last year, do you think it's going to add pressure to Ohio State, Ryan Day? I read somewhere that their roster from an NIL standpoint took about $20 million to build. I just want to throw that out there. The type of money is being spent in NCAA. In college football. So, what are your thoughts on Ohio State going into the season?
The worst thing for a coach who has been labeled as can't win the big one is when his ops wins the big one. Like Ryan Day has always fallen,
beat you to do it too,
and beat you to do it. Hell yeah, the pressure is on Ohio State. And even if they win it, if beating Michigan isn't an integral part of that story, there'll be pressure next year because that's just how college football works.
Let me tell you something, Ryan Day. Well, I do think there's some pressure because you're obviously the coach of the Ohio State. I think there's a little less pressure than you think, because with the restructuring of how they're doing the Big Ten Conference Championships, I don't believe they have any divisions anymore. So Ryan Day, you could lose the game, but if you win the Big Ten championship game and then become one of the 4 ranked teams, then maybe you don't have to see Michigan again. All you got to do is beat them once, and you probably are going to get 2 chances to do it.
Well, the important part is beating them the second time. Who cares about the first?
The second time. So I think it'll be less. What are your thoughts on the reports that Deion Sanders banned a reporter who has kind of been talking spicy about him and the team in the press? You think it was fair based on the criticism, or you think it was a little petty and harsh?
I think it's a slippery slope. Uh, Journalists aren't there to be his friend. They're there now. I understand this guy wrote some stuff, but remember he did this at Jackson State too, right? Someone wrote some he ain't like, right? So it's a very slippery slope. So okay, this person, I ban this person because they say something I don't like. So when does it stop, right? Like this is kind of when people talk about censorship. This is how it starts. Again, I understand not wanting someone. Well, they just can't say anything about me, and then they think I owe them my time. I understand that part of it, but it's a real slippery slope when we start banning again because he did this at Jackson State. Someone wrote something he didn't like, and he banned that person. Like at some point, like as a coach, you're held to a higher standard.
Listen, Dion, if this is your way of not slapping the shit out of somebody, I respect it because sometimes you get. Sometimes this is what I think Dion's saying. Before I see you and Lord, because you know he be talking with a lot of Jesus and God.
He does.
He said, "Yo, before I see you and the Lord, with the power of the Lord, I strike you down. I'm just gonna ban you, so you don't even have the chance. You can keep writing your stuff. You just won't be asking me no questions here."
And at the same time, I think there needs
there's like some listen to get. It's one thing to criticize a team, but if you're getting personal with it, yeah, I'm gonna ban you because you keep talking about me and my family, and I'm gonna fuck you up. But not today because I got the Lord in me. Hallelujah. Thank you.
Well, here's the thing: when reporters write stuff like that, I believe it is part of their journalistic integrity to face that person that they're writing about, so that person has the right to defend themselves. So if you're gonna write that stuff about Dion, then yeah, you got to show up to the press conference to answer for what you wrote for.
And then but when you show up, I'm gonna ban you, punk bitch.
But that doesn't give. I see what you're saying, but having a reporter show up in that space, right? Like if a beat writer writes something negative,
reaction, and my reaction was to beat your ass, but I'm not going to do that. So instead,
when does it stop though? Right? You ban one guy, but when does it stop?
Yeah. So send somebody. You can keep asking your questions. It just your company can send somebody else to ask questions. It just won't be you.
Because there's a certain candidate running for the country right now. That's it. That's his game. Well, I don't like what you said. You're fake. I don't like you. Right? Like where does it stop? Like that's the same play. I don't like. He's not saying they're fake, but like that's a step away.
But Dion ain't saying you can't write. He said you can't be here asking me these questions. You got to take your questions and ask them from someone else. Yeah, I seen that you wrote, and I remember what you said. So no, you're not gonna be here. You're not gonna be face to face in my face trying to buddy kiki with me, then ask me all these questions, trying to get me to make certain statements so that if it backfires, you can always come back to this. You can come back to this statement. No. Send somebody else who gonna write something maybe a little more positive about the program, and then to begin with,
well, it's not the reporter. It's not the reporter's job to write pieces about you.
Don't we ever think about sometimes the criticisms that these reporters be making don't be ruled in some hate, some bitch assness, and frankly, listen.
I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying like if you write that as a reporter, then it's your responsibility to show up face to face. So if that person has something to say to you
about football, but to get
I'm talking about in any sport. Basketball, if someone writes an article about Joel Embiid
to the sport, that's one thing. But to get banned, clearly you ain't talking about the sport. You talking about some shit that if I see you face to face, I might choke you out like a damn gizzard, you mother. Listen, I don't know. It's this new internet age era, but people be thinking they can just talk to you with a little bit of spice, a little bit of oomps. Like ain't gonna be no repercussions. Cool. Maybe ain't gonna be no physical repercussions, but if I got the power to really disrupt your day, I'm gonna disrupt your day because you're disrupting my peace of mind. And you're not keeping it professional. Let's keep critiques professional. You've been professional, you've hired professionals, you've met the professionals who, when you ask them for their critiques, they talk about everything, but what you're asking them to critique, they talking about some shit that don't even matter.
It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery. Like I said, there's a man running for office, right? That's his game. Oh, yeah, I don't like what you said about me.
I don't like
you.
Like that comparison. I don't really think that's a fair.
But that's the same thing. He's not saying they're fake.
The president of the United States isn't the same power of a
Dion didn't go up there and say, "I don't want to talk to anyone from CBS because y'all have someone who says something mean about me." Did he not say that?
Yeah, but he's talking about the. I don't think Dion's not cutting off the whole network though.
He said, I do not want to talk to anyone from CBS because that person said something about me that I didn't like. That's who that sound like to you?
Sound like someone who's offended.
It sound like somebody who running for the highest office in the country to me.
I don't like the comparison. I don't see it. Let's shift over to the NFL. It's a good conversation. Shift over to the NFL because somebody got that bag.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody got the bag. He in your division. He been giving y'all hell for a few years now,
Yes,
Mr. CeeDee Lamb. 4 years, 136 million. I think he had 32 of them things guaranteed. He had a lot of guaranteed money.
I think it was 30 guaranteed at signing, right?
Yeah, 32 guaranteed at signing. He gonna make his money. It's obviously a big win for CD from a financial standpoint. Let me ask you something. How do you think this is? How do you think this affects Michael Parsons, Dak Prescott as they look for new deals?
Dak Prescott will be a Los Angeles Ram next year, but let me tell you something. This ain't got nothing to do with Dak. If I'm Dak, I walk in there and I said, Jerry, sit down with me and watch this Chargers film and watch Trey Lance, and you tell me if this is what you want to like. Watch it like Trey Lance did him the biggest favor. You sure this is what you want to do?
Yo, you know what's funny? I saw that notification about that 5 interception game, and I was like, yo, after what interception do you think they considered taking him out? So then I'm playing NCAA last night, and I just finished. So in my SMU Dynasty League, I traveled to Corvallis to play a dude who had Oregon State. I got down by maybe like 10 or 17, but then I storming back second half.
Okay.
But I ended up losing by 3, but it was really because in the second half, the reason why I got down 17, deep my own territory, I was down 10-0, and my defense was shaky after the first two. No, I was down 7-0, and my defense was shaky after the first couple of drives, so I went for it. Didn't get it.
Oof.
They kicked the field goal, and guess what? I lose by 3.
Tough scene. But yeah, if I'm Dak, like Jerry was talking all that sweet stuff.
No, I didn't finish the story. I say all that to say, after that game, I go and run my Houston Dynasty because I'm mad. And I was like, I just need to cool. I'm mad at myself. And I'm playing Arizona State. Son. Iowa State. The QB throws 7 total interceptions. I am just like it was like the guy threw 3 straight pick sixes. I scored 35 points in the fourth quarter. It was 17-10 going into the it was 17-7 going into it was 17-10 going into the fourth, and I scored 35 unanswered points, 3 straight pick sixes.
Not engage 8 3 times in a row.
No. I was running cover 3 match.
Okay, I got you.
It's crazy.
But yeah, that Dak will be a Ram next year, but I would just Jerry watching. Here's the link.
After the interception, do you think they were like, nah, this ain't it?
Probably after the second one, because they all like happened. Most of them happened like towards the end of the game. So if you're throwing a pick and it's 3 minutes left, whatever, man, just keep going. Like, what are we gonna do? Put someone in there who ain't warmed up? Just keep going. Like, you're fine. Whatever.
Hey, just keep going. It's hilarious. Hey, man, listen, just forget about it. We're gonna put you right back out there. Let's just make another play.
Make another
all right,
kind of play.
All right, man. Let's go through our reads, go through our coverages, go through our progressions. It's okay. After the third one. Listen, go through the progressions. You got to see it, visualize the throw. After the fourth one, you're just like, who are you throwing it to? After the fifth one, listen, you know what? It's okay. Just we go to somebody else out there.
He did that on purpose. He making sure Dak get paid.
He'll make sure Dak get paid. Kyle said he likes your Dak to the Rams prediction too, by the way.
It makes too much sense, man.
They got the money to pay him?
Well, Matt Stafford's old. This is probably going to be Matt Stafford's last year. You can always cook the books to find a way to pay somebody. You pay who you want to pay.
Speaking of paying who you want to pay, someone who says he wants to get paid, Mr. Brandon Aiyuk. Nothing about his contract situation has changed, unlike CeeDee Lamb. It doesn't seem like he really... How do I say this? Does it seem like he really wants to get paid? Or do you think that what he wants to get paid compared to the market, especially after the CeeDee Lamb deal, his agent and the team is saying one thing, and maybe he's saying something else.
I think he wants to get paid like CD and Jetta's, but he really need to aim for a contract like Amon Ra. Like
How do you make
that's the
someone see that who don't see it though? If you're the agent and the team.
yeah. I wish we had more information as to what Pittsburgh and New England offered.
Well, because if it was a money thing, look, I was listening to Michael Lombardi this morning. He said if it
Mhm.
was a money thing, he would have took the deal to the Patriots.
Okay, he don't want to play with Drake May.
So,
Um,
so is it a money thing or is it you want to win? You want to be on a team that wins, but you also want to make Jetta's or CeeDee Lamb type money? Because if that's the case, brother, we got to level set some expectations.
yeah, like you got you one or the other. Either you're gonna get paid and you're probably gonna go to a team that's fighting for the playoffs or sucks, or you're not gonna get paid and play for a team and win
And
the
it's
Super.
not going to be not paid. You're just going to be in the top 10 versus being in the top 3 wide receivers.
Yeah, and he shouldn't be paid like a top 3 wide receiver. But who am I? If I had the leverage, I would want that money too. So I ain't mad at him.
Jamar Chase, speaking of someone else who wants a new deal, these receivers, boy, they get acting like some divas. That Terrell Owens, boy, he changed the game. Jamar Chase, he practiced earlier this week for the first time all off season, but he's still without a deal. Zach Taylor's already confirmed he will play week 1 versus the Patriots. So I'm going to ask you a question. Who practices with a new deal first of these following names? Jamar Chase, Trent Richardson, or Hassan Reddick?
I think you meant Trent Williams, right?
Trent Williams, Trent Richardson. No, Trent Richardson will not be coming back anytime soon. Trent Williams.
It's definitely gonna be Jamar.
You think so?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be Jamar.
You think the way the Bengals historically don't want to pay people, they're going to pay Jamar Chase top of the line money?
Because I don't think
pay T Higgins.
I don't think they're gonna pay. I don't think the Jets are gonna pay for Hassan Reddick. And I don't think the 49ers are going to pay Trent Richardson. So Trent Richardson still has years on his contract, but they're dummy years, right? So I don't think there's any more guaranteed money, and that's what he wants. Hassan wants to do. So what are the likely odds about to happen? Jamar Chase is younger, him getting paid as a top 3 receiver. Trent Williams in his mid to late 30s getting paid as the top left tackle in football, or Hassan Reddick making Bosa money. Like out of those 3, what's the one that's most likely to happen? And to me, it's Chase.
I think it's Hassan Reddick making Bosa money.
I don't think the Jets are going to pay him. I think
the Jets, even if they may wait a couple weeks, I think the more Hassan Reddick is like $4 million in the hole right now because of this holdout. At some point, I think he's just going to come play and maybe play his way into a new contract. And it wouldn't surprise me if later in the year, maybe like week 2 or 3, they end up getting the deal done that they want to get done.
I would say an organization can waive a fine if they want to waive a fine. So that $4 million, I would not count that just yet as gone.
Bro saying you shouldn't bank on them actually. Yo, he hasn't been in the facility since he's been traded,
which is stupid by the Jets. But
and no one wants to take on that problem by the Jets as well. So that's why another reason why I think he'll get a deal done. Did you see the smoke that Tua Tagovailoa had for Brian Flores?
Yes, hilarious. Shout out Dan Le Batard. He knows how to interview somebody.
What were your thoughts?
I know there's been like Tua is thin skinned, but did you hear Flores reacting to that interview? Did you hear what he said? He said, "I have grown since then," which tells me everything Tua said was 100% accurate.
Oh, he was getting at him. He was talking that major. He was probably like, "Yo, you ain't shit."
Everything Tua said is probably true. When people say stuff like that, or I've grown, I'm a different person, shit like that, whatever they're being accused of.
What are your personal thoughts on tough love versus too far, too rude?
Tell them when you're telling your quarterback, "I don't want you, I'm going to go get Deshaun Watson." Like that is not tough love. That's just you being a dick. Like that's. I forgot what I was listening to. Someone's like,
"You're not." Listen, I'm talking to you, Danny. I feel like you grew up with a little bit of tough love. You
Yes.
thick-skinned it a little bit. As someone, as a direct result of some tough love, what are your thoughts on it in this situation? And then think about it, how it may apply in a situation like football, being that football is one of the most contact-heavy sports, and the quarterback position is the most important position in all of sports. And we're looking to pay this guy top of the line money in a few years. If you're Brian Flores.
The key word in that is love. Like it's okay, like especially someone who play football, like knowing that like I knew my coach had my back. Like this is what he like that he wanted me to be there and he wanted me to be great. It sounds like Brian Flores was like, "Yo, you suck. The second I can get you out of here, I'm gonna get you out of here." Yeah, like that doesn't sound like anything loving or inspirational, motivational to me. It's like someone, yo,
We
you
also
suck.
have girls say, "Yo, listen, your mac and cheese stinks. Just leave that to me."
That's not tough love. Tough love is, hey, this mac and cheese isn't good. Here are some things you can do to make it better. Right? Like this, the love has to come after the toughness.
Can you see but if you can see the message deep within the like behind the actual words, you feel the love in it. Kyle says the funny timing. Tua says this after he gets his big contract and security. These comments probably help ensure that Flores will never be a head coach again. Ooh, I see
That's a
that.
good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that's one way to make
But
sure.
at the same time, Brian Flores sued the Miami Dolphins. He was never going to be a head coach again anyway.
Yeah, once you go,
And he said that, and he was pretty much saying they were trying to get Tom Brady behind the scenes illegally. He won't go be a head coach again anyway.
he was like, he said, "Yo, this is bigger than Brown. If I'm coming down, I'm taking the whole organization with me."
Yeah, when that was a suicide mission. Shout out to him for standing up for what he believed in. I'm not saying that, but yeah, once you start suing an owner, that's it. You're done.
Drake May. I don't know if you saw the preseason game between who was it? It was the Patriots and Commanders.
I saw him against the Eagles.
He didn't look bad in this last preseason game versus the Commanders. He looked pretty decent.
Nope.
What's funny is Jacoby Brissett. I watched both their sets. Jacoby Brissett, yeah, he got injured, but brother, if you saw the plays before he got injured, it won't really like that.
No, but you knew that. But we knew that going in.
So, do you take the chance of rolling Drake May out there if Jacoby continues to not progress?
Hell no. Ain't no need to rush Drake May. We know what time it is in New England. We knew we drafted him over Marvin Harrison. Like we knew Marvin Harrison gone when Drake May was on the board.
They had the third overall pick.
Yeah. Like you knew what time it was when you drafted Drake May and signed Jacoby Brissett. We know they're gonna win games 21-17, 17-13. We know what time it is. There's no need to rush Drake May for what? One bad year to set him up for a decade of good years is worth it.
New England, listen to me. Start that man. Stop playing. You put Jacoby Brissett out there, you can have a locker room full of angry men.
You think so? You think they'd be that angry?
He's not. Listen.
It's one thing to do it in the preseason against the Commanders 2s and 3s. It's another thing when it's week 1. It's another thing when the ones are out there. Not to say that Drake May can't handle it. I'm just saying if you have any doubt that Drake May's not ready, then there's no need to rush it.
But if you know that Jacoby Brissett ain't it, why delay it?
Well, you want to make sure he's ready. Like you don't want him. You don't throw him to. You don't want to do him like what's that guy's?
Through the wire.
You don't want to. You don't want to Josh Rosen him. You don't got any quarterback from 2022 except Brock Purdy, Desmond Ritter. All that. Like you
hilarious.
Say what?
Said Josh Rosen in him is hilarious.
That's what I'm. You don't. I just. What's the point of running him out there before if you don't have to and potentially ruin his confidence?
Got to throw that boy to the fire. Throw that boy to the fire.
Oh, Kyle says he has to go record. Kyle, you're about to miss the NFC North breakdown. I think you're really going to like what I'm about to say. But okay, you can catch the replay.
It's okay. Speaking of which, do you want to hop on in our divisional breakdown We got the last two. We got the last two divisions on our schedule. Two divisions that feel close to both of us.
Yes.
NFC East and the NFC North. Danny, we could start off with the NFC North. This is the Green Bay Packers, go Pack go. The Detroit Lions, Chicago Bears, Minnesota Vikings. Danny, would you mind going first? Actually,
I do not mind at all. So for me, before we get started, I believe this is the most competitive division in the NFC. I think the AFC North is the most competitive division in all of football. So these records, I got Minnesota, even with Sam Darnold as the quarterback, you still got Jettas, you still got TJ Hawkinson coming back week 5, you still have Jordan Addison. I got them at 9-8 and in last place. I have the Bears next at 10-7. I think that offense is going to be absolutely amazing. If Caleb Williams does anything remotely to what he's doing in preseason, they're going to be fun to watch. Still got him at 10-7 though. The Detroit Lions, it's easy to be good when no one expects you to be good, but what do you do when people expect you to win? That's always the question that comes with success. I got the Lions at 11-5. 11-6, excuse me. And then the Green Bay Packers. Believe in the performances we saw from Jordan Love last year. Granted, it was a small sample size. I got them at 12-5 in winning the division.
Okay, I like where your head's at.
Of course you do.
So say that again.
So Minnesota 9-8, Chicago 10-7, the Lions 11-6, excuse me, and then the Packers 12-5.
Okay.
Do you want me to keep going, or you want to go over yours?
I'm doing some math on total teams I got in the playoffs.
Okay. Yeah, I did that earlier. I'll keep going then with my storylines and yada yada yada. The biggest storylines for me are the QBs. More specifically, Jordan Love. He got the money. Can he live up to it? Right. Again, it's a very small sample size of what we saw at the end of last year after a little bit of a shaky start in the beginning, but he was going to get his money regardless. And then Caleb Williams. I know you, Caleb is a bit overblown, but seeing that the Bears did right by him instead of what they did to Justin, like Caleb with that wide receiver group and DeAndre Swift coming out the backfield, I'm just excited to see what that looks like.
I'm not too much impressed by the Bears, but I will say I do have them winning some games this year. So I'm happy to give my records now. I've done my math. Okay. Finishing last in the division with a record of 6 wins, 11 losses, due in part to they don't know what they're figuring out. They got Sam Darnold at the helm. I have the Minnesota Vikings. Finishing third in the NFC North with a record of 9-8. Former number 1 overall pick holder, Chicago Bears.
Okay.
Finishing 10-7. Second in the division by way of tiebreakers, I have the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
Finishing first in the division with a equal record of 10-7 with the tiebreaker victory, I do have, you guessed it, the Green Bay Packers.
Any storylines you're looking forward to?
I think the biggest storylines I'm looking forward to, one, Sam Darnold. How long does Kevin O'Connell have being patient with Sam Darnold before he may look to replace at that position? Again,
trade for Kenny Pickett, Kevin.
And then I think two would be the evolution of the Green Bay Packers defense under new defensive coordinator, and yeah, that'd be it.
Got any breakout players?
Listen, Dontavius Wicks.
Okay. I'm going to keep this very simple. Caleb Williams.
He ain't breaking out shit.
All right. Your MVP?
For this division, I'm with you. I like Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love's going to put together some tape that we haven't seen before.
I got Amon Ra. I think Amon Ra. Did you watch the Receiver Netflix documentary? Amon Ra's built different. I just think that his drive, he just wants to be great, and that's all he wants is to be great and to win. I think he'll be the division MVP. I think he'll probably have more yards than Jettis this year.
So I should be lucky to have him on my fantasy team if I'm able to get him.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else in the NFC North other than you don't like Caleb Williams for some reason?
Yeah, no, I'm not sold. Nah, I think it's go pack go season. I'm very curious to see what happens week 1. We play some dirty birds.
Yes, sir.
Play some dirty birds. What about the NFC East? Talk to me about your NFC East.
Would you like to go first for the NFC East?
I don't mind. So finishing last in the division with a whopping 7 wins and 10 losses, the former number 2 overall pick holders, the Washington Commanders. Finishing third in the division, no playoff berth, 9-8. I do have the New York Football Giants.
Okay.
Finishing second in the division, 10 wins, 7 losses, no playoff berth, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh, all right, Nick Wright.
Finishing at the top of the division and at the top of the AFC, 12 wins, 5 losses, number 1 overall seeded Dallas Cowboys.
What about the Cowboys makes you believe they're going to be the 1 seed in the NFC?
Because they are still good and they are still the Cowboys.
Okay. We were on the same page until you got. So I got the Giants at 7-10. I got the Commanders at 8-9. I have the Cowboys at 10-7, and then I have the Eagles at 11-6. I don't understand this hype for the Cowboys. They've done nothing to get better this offseason. Deron Bland is out 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, Diggs is back, but what does he look like after an ACL injury? I mean, you got Mike Zimmer. Sure, if you want to buy into the Mike Zimmer defense, I'm not going to knock you for that. But there's nothing about you have Ezekiel Elliott as your week 1 running back. Your offensive line is shaky. Your defensive line, especially at defensive tackle, is a little weak.
Yep.
I have a feeling teams are just going to run all over them.
Yeah.
And dare Micah to stop the run.
Yeah, but I think also at the same time though, I think with Dallas, I think they're still really, really well coached. And I think they're going to play a lot more complimentary like football. Listen, man, Dallas is going to be all right. I like
if you go position group by position group, there aren't many where the Cowboys are better than anyone else in the NFC East. Like they're better at quarterback. I'll give for the people who say Dak's better than Jalen. Fine. Nah, Eagles have a better wide receiver room.
Maybe wide receiver room, but they got the better wide receiver 1.
I would take AJ over CeeDee Lamb, but that's me. That's a bias. But there's not a massive gap between CeeDee and AJ. It's not like
I will agree with that.
It's not like there's a massive gap. Okay, and then the rest of the Eagles wide receiver room is better. The Eagles offensive line is better. The Eagles defensive line is better. The Cowboys have better linebackers.
Y'all's offensive line is better?
Yes, the Eagles offensive
line.
Sure?
Y'all lost a Hall of
Positive. They did. Positive. Even losing Jason Kelsey, the Eagles still have a top 10 offensive line.
And I think they might have a better secondary than y'all.
They do, because the Eagles secondary is very unknown right now. So they have a better secondary.
They got a linebacking core too.
I said that. They have better linebackers, a better secondary.
They got a better
and a better quarterback. That's it. Everything else is Eagles.
That don't count for a few. Okay.
Tight end. Who would you rather have, Jake Ferguson or Dallas Goedert?
Both.
You only pick one. I would take Dallas. Jake Ferguson is like a tier 4 tight end.
Bug him. You act like Dallas Goedert is really like that, bro.
He's not, but I'd take him over Jake.
Magic Johnson said Ant-Man is not really like that if we were talking basketball. Magic Johnson said, because Ant-Man said that
we're gonna skip over the breakout players and the MVPs in NFC East.
I'm offended by your statement about Dallas.
We not gonna keep going. No, we talked about NFC North. We're gonna talk about NFC East.
No, I'm messing with you. Nah, who do you have as a breakout player? I'm playing with you.
Malik. Even though Daniel Jones is your quarterback, I believe Malik Neighbors.
Hold the damn phone. Hold the damn phone. You can't. You. Yo, do you hear how ridiculous? Yo, even though the motherfucker throwing your ball might be a bum, you'll overcome it. No, that means the motherfucker he can't be a bum then.
That means he's a good wide receiver. Daniel Jones gonna throw some hospital balls that Malik Neighbors are gonna make look great.
Tyreek, listen, Malik Neighbors, I'm gonna need you to just talk about Daniel Jones the way Tyreek Hill talks about Tua, because that's the only way people are gonna believe that this guy will actually be good unless he starts winning
Okay,
games.
that's fair. You got a breakout player?
Listen, my breakout player, Packers 2023 first round rookie, Lucas Van Ness. I think he's going to have a really good breakout year on the defensive line. I also like Jamison Williams for the Lions. I think he's going to have a big year this year as well.
I'm talking about breakout players in the NFC East.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why my brain went to the NFC North. I'm still talking about my division. In the NFC East, breakout player number one would obviously be Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury, that marriage between offensive coordinator and QB is going to be really, really, really big. I don't know if this is really breakout, but since it's a new team, I like Saquon Barkley on the Eagles. I think Kellen Moore is going to find a way to. I mean, he's got a better version of Austin Eckler. I think he's going to find a way to get him the ball. And I'm not Austin Eckler. Well, yeah, because he was the offensive coordinator
He was
in Los Angeles last year. So he have a better version of Austin Eckler, more athletic, can do more, better at running inside and outside the tacklers, bigger, faster. I mean, Saquon's a good pickup for Philly, and I'm really shocked the Giants let him go, but we've seen the Hard Knocks episode.
I'm excited to see. I have Devontae Smith. I'm excited to see how Kellen Moore uses him in the CeeDee Lamb role. A lot of motion. I know AJ's wide receiver run, but dog, I don't know what Devontae's over under is for the year, but if it's flirting at 1,100 yards, I would take that over in a heartbeat.
How long do you think AJ has in Philly before he's traded or waived?
Oh no, they're fine. AJ got paid this offseason and Devontae got paid this offseason, at least in the next 2-3 years together.
The head coach might not be there though.
Yeah, that's my biggest storyline. Where does Bill Belichick go? Does he go to Dallas or does he go to Philadelphia? He gonna have to pick. There's a potential he could pick his poison.
Nick Sirianni. I can't believe Nick Sirianni really let it come to this. That's irresponsible.
But here's the thing: you can't fire a coach who's been to the playoff 3 times and 2 years off a Super Bowl berth. What does that tell other coaches? Who's gonna want that job? You know, like who's gonna want that job?
To represent your franchise. That's how y'all treat winners.
Exactly. That's how you treat a winner.
So Kyle said that the Patriots played the 49ers in week 4, so either Drake May starts week 1 or week 5. He also says the Packers will win the NFC North, so he liked your take there, by the way. Anything else for the NFC East? Listen, I was about the NFC East. While I do think Dallas will be the only representative from the NFC East to make the playoffs, I do think competitively all of these NFC East games will be very good and very competitive. Like I don't foresee any larger than 13 points for most of these.
I am going to try to remove my bias later and see what everyone sees in the Cowboys because I don't see it. Because I think you're going to be able to run all over them.
I think you're bugging. They're going to be a good team, and they got some young defensive players. I think are going to.
I think they're a very lighted defensive tackle, and you can run right at them, or you can run right at Micah.
Okay.
Before we transition to basketball, I just want to say my NFC playoff picture, I have the Packers as the 1 seed, then the 49ers, the Eagles, the Falcons, the Lions, the Bears, and I have the Cowboys getting that last spot.
Let's see. Mine, I have the Cowboys as the 1 seed, Niners as the 2 seed at 11-6. Let's see. Packers at the 3 seed, Falcons at the 4 seed, Detroit. Hold on. Detroit at the 5 seed, Rams at the 6 seed, and the Saints at the 7 seed.
The fact that you think the Saints are going to be better than the Eagles is crazy to me.
Actually, no, I got that wrong. I actually got that wrong. Thank you for calling that out. That would make the Eagles if I'm looking at my rankings again, that would make the Eagles 7th seed. So, excuse me, I take that. I retract my statement. I do think the NFC East will put 2 teams in the playoffs.
Okay.
Dallas, and I
I
think
was
that.
about to say,
So I
whew,
think
the
with that,
Saints.
so with that being said, I would then have the Philadelphia Eagles being the 7th team to
Yeah,
get.
so they would go to San Francisco.
Here's what I'll say though, because we won't be on here next week. It would not surprise me if the Eagles, with some fuckery, win week 1.
I don't even think it'd be with some fuckery. I think it's because they have the best offensive room in the NFL.
Listen, I don't think y'all gonna gel the way y'all think. And you're talking about a team that was a kick away from beating the team that went to the Super Bowl. So come on now.
I'm not saying I'm saying your offense
You got a new
is going to be able to put up points.
On that. Now let me talk. Hold on, because I ain't gonna see you next week. So I think it's about time I really talk my shit because I really don't think you respecting the pack and what we got going on.
I got you as the 1 seed in the NFC. What are you talking about?
Who was the 1 seed?
I have the Packers as the 1 seed in the NFC.
Okay, but I'm talking about versus the Eagles.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't really think you realized was coming your way in San Paulo. Look, them Brazilians, them favelas, they about to see dead eagles and cheese. And my people can't even go down there wearing green.
I think the first half is going to be rough because they did not play any preseason snaps.
Who?
The Eagles.
Oh yeah, we getting y'all the fuck out of here. We getting y'all the fuck out of here.
All right. I ain't even gonna say nothing. All right, yeah.
34-17.
Oh yeah, go Pack, go. Yeah.
Go Pack, go. I'm talking because it's that season and I'm ready.
All right.
Man, we're about an hour and 16. I don't know if we have time to do like a full mock draft.
Yeah, and Kyle's gone. I don't know if we have time this week.
Yeah, we'll see where we land team wise when we come back, and we'll talk about how we're feeling across a few leagues. So.
Okay, because the draft, your redraft league is next week, right?
Yeah, I got draft starting this weekend, and I'm gonna be honest with you, between me and you. So here's the thing: I haven't really done a lot of mock drafting.
Really, I can't stop.
Outside of what we've done on here, I haven't really done a lot of mock drafting. But here's why: last couple of years, I've done like a ton of studying and stuff like that, and like I've had these teams where like I've had too much talent, or like it's too deep. Pause. And like I have trouble getting a roster or a lineup that I feel like confident in. And I'm looking at some of these draft spots I got already, and it's like I should basically just take best player available. What's the draft strategy? Like there's the keeper league where I have the number 1 overall pick. That's where I talked to you and Kyle about, likely going to be like Almiron, St. Brown sort of thing. But some of these other ones that like outside of, because if we're talking like redraft and keepers, I got pick 6 in a 10-team league. I got pick 8 in our 10-team league. Yep. I got I think I got pick like 10 or 8 or something. I got another late round pick in another league. So it's like, dude, you know what I'm saying?
Well, one thing I love about Sleeper is that it gives you different, like the ESPN mock drafts is pretty much the same because it's going by. But Sleeper has thrown some curveballs. So I'm doing all my mock drafting in Sleeper. Like, what happens if the person I'm targeting in our redraft league isn't there? How will I pivot? How will I build my team if that person's not there? So I've done like 17 or 18 in Sleeper, just trying to get some looks for when we do have our redraft.
Maybe I might do a few Sleeper ones after we get off here and we're chilling. A little basketball talk. We can keep this kind of light. I mentioned it earlier. You heard what Ant-Man said about players that weren't named Jordan back in the day. He basically said, they weren't scared. Ant-Man, most people born after let me tell you, Ant-Man, anyone born after 1985 agrees with you, but we can't really say that because we can't really say it out loud because our elders are still alive and kicking it. But don't worry. Give it about 30 to 40 and you can really get this takeoff with ease because he's not lying. But you can't say that while they're still there. Magic Johnson then came back after Ant-Man basically said that Jordan was the only skilled person back in the day and was like, I don't hear nothing I don't hear anything from somebody that ain't won no championships at any level, NBA, college, high school. Was that a little harsh or was it fair?
Everyone is right in their own world. Magic has the right to say, I don't talk to people who ain't champion because he's a champion. And Ant can say, yeah, Jordan played with some plumbers, yada yada yada. Like this is all generational hate. It's all par for the course. Example I like to use
Yo,
is when I
Jordan was going up against like Clyde Ellis and them. Like, what are we talking about?
mean, no, Jordan had competition. Like let's I don't I think Ant might be watering down that generation a little. But again, I always say that I
Who
use
in
it.
Jordan's era
Yep.
could give you like a comp to like a Jokic?
But that's the evolution of the game because I'm sure when Jordan was playing, someone can say, who can give me a comp of Clyde Drexler from Bill Russell's era? You know what I mean? Like, who can, like, that's the whole point. That's what, like, 20, 30 years from now, we're going to say, who could
So,
give me
who do you
a,
think face overall harder competition, LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
well, I'm a LeBron fan, so I'm going to say LeBron, but I don't think the gap is,
Who played one team? He played a 73-9 team. So when you look back at some of them teams LeBron has lost to in the finals, you look back, people will like universally respect all these teams, but then use these teams to then down LeBron for having as many finals losses as he has.
I'll say it was a
That
different
first
game.
team, we all knew what was going down in 07. We all knew. The 2011 Mavs one, I will say that was one the criticism was fair on that one. Let's see, they won 12-13. That San Antonio team in 14, yo, they shot the lights out. People don't even give credit. That was like one of the best shooting performances ever by a team in the finals that year, like ever.
I'll say it's a different game. And when Jordan played, you didn't have some of the things that you're dealing with now. There was no load management when Jordan played.
There
Like,
was no Kevin Durant. There was no Steph Curry. There was no Jamal Murray. SGA. Yo, like, what are we talking about?
yeah, but that's the evolution of the game and how the game is
Redick might give
played.
players buckets.
I mean, but they're a little more physical, right? Like you're talking about physicality. You're talking about hand checking. You couldn't play zone. All you could do was play man. Like there were different things that were. There was no flagrant two. You're getting tossed. Like it was none of that. Ref would tell you, "Hey man, shut the fuck up." That ain't happening now.
Well, Ant-Man, just know next time the Timberwolves play the Lakers, if y'all lose, Magic Johnson will have one of those Magic Johnson-esque tweets.
Oh yeah. Oh, no. Magic gonna hold a press conference, even though he don't like Rob Pelinka and Genie. He was like, no. Get me a camera.
Give me a camera. Let's shift over to the W. What are your thoughts? And this is really all for you. Really, you're our guy for the WNBA. Thoughts on Angel Reese's 20 rebound game and Asia's game winner in that same game over the weekend?
I want to say, can we stop hating on Angel Reese? I know I've seen the tweets of her field goal percentage, 3 feet in the basket. It's the worst in the league. People think she just be missing stuff on purpose to eat these rebounds and get her stats. Leave that girl alone. She is huh?
That don't even make sense. Yo, guys, the goal of basketball is put the ball into the cup.
So people say like she misses layups on purpose so she can get the rebound to pad her rebounding stats. Because her field goal percentage is the worst in the league when she like close to the rim, right? Like I think she's like 46% or something like that. So people are saying she's just stat padding, and she's not.
But
so
like,
when she's
just why don't you just stop her from getting the rebound?
Thank you. Why don't you box her out? That's all you gotta do. Just box her out. Because
I hope recreationally a good box out of work.
Like when I think people miss when Angel gets these offensive rebounds, there are 3 bigs around her, so it's harder to make these layups.
She'd be getting them 22. I mean 20 hard earned ones.
They be them rebounds be. I mean, she's just great at it. The game winner is still Asia's league. Like it's still her league. Did you watch that game Sunday?
I did. What are your thoughts on the Sparks? Do you think they?
Rakia. If they had given Rakia Jackson this freedom at the beginning of the year, the rookie of the year would be a 3-way conversation between her, Caitlin, and Angel, because she is the most efficient rookie out of all of them.
Mm-hmm. And then speaking of Asia and the Aces, sorry about the Sparks. I just thought about them because they're at the bottom of the standings. But speaking about the Aces, what do you also think about the Aces? Like they're like what, the fourth or fifth seed right now.
Yeah, they're playing right now, and they're only up by 5 against Dallas. I don't think don't worry about seeding. You just worry about building chemistry,
They won home
getting
field
healthy.
advantage. They want to be in the top 4, right?
Yeah, but I don't think that matters because they won a championship in New York last year without Chelsea Gray. So I don't know if home court really means that much then when you went into New York's house and won a championship down your arguably your second best player. So I don't think that matters to a degree. It doesn't matter as much as it matters to like Minnesota or even New York. You get healthy, you try to go on, you try to build some momentum for the playoffs, and then you just go from there.
Speaking of Minnesota, they kind of feel like the hottest team in the W, don't they?
What I tell you guys at the beginning of the year, take that Nafisa Collier MVP, and you might earn some money. I don't think she's going to win MVP unless they go on some sort of run. But I think the conversation, like I think Asia's going to win unanimously. But if the Aces slip to like 6 or 7 and Minnesota's at like 2 or 3, like you could have a legit conversation that Nafisa Collier should be the MVP of the league. She's been playing lights out. I think home court advantage is crucial for Minnesota. They're not tested like Vegas. I think that having home court in the first round, especially if you get an Indiana or Chicago, like that's going to make the world a difference.
Who benefits from the home field advantage more in Minnesota? The Vikings, the Lynx, or the Timberwolves?
Ooh, I would say the Vikings, even though it's an indoor stadium like that. Boo. I mean, home court advantage didn't matter to Minnesota when Luka walked in there.
Yeah, you're right, man. Listen, one of the things when I'm towards the end of this year, when I look back on 2024, I'm gonna think about my night in May, middle of the night in Greece, watching the Dallas Mavericks just shoot the fucking lights out and send these boys packing. I'm just sitting there, yo. It's like 4 a.m. I'm like, yo, they are beating they ass right now.
That's
like
right.
This is not fun to watch, but it's fun to watch.
Oh, it was great to watch.
Speaking of the playoff race, I think you think the Fever and the Sky are both going to make it in.
Yeah, I think the Fever in the Sky. I forget who's under them. It's like Dallas, Washington. Like those teams have been out for a while. Like that, I think the playoff picture is set. The only thing that's going to matter is who's getting 7, who's getting 8. Say what?
You don't think Atlanta can make a run?
No, I don't. Atlanta's not a serious team. If anyone watched the Atlanta game yesterday and how they ended that game, they're not a serious team. They are. Atlanta's not a serious team.
Do not waste your time, energy, or bets.
No, dude, Atlanta's not a serious team.
Well, if I was placing bets, who would be a dark horse in the WNBA playoff race that I should consider?
I would say Seattle and Phoenix.
Really?
That's if that's why home court advantage for Minnesota is so important. You don't want to go to Phoenix. Kalia Copper, I think she's second in the league in scoring. I know Seattle's kind of floundering right now, but they still have champions on that roster. You still have Skylar Diggins-Smith, you still have NECA, you still have Ezzy. Like, you still have a squad. If you're Minnesota, you don't want to see them in – like, you want home court advantage. Like, that's why it's so crucial for Minnesota. You don't want to have to go to Phoenix.
Playing a little bit more, like, ball movement, or is it still just fucking –
Oh, Enrique?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dallas, Satu's back. I mean, Dallas is dead in the water anyway. I think Dallas's bigger problem is that Satu Sabally decided to sit out the first half of the season until the Olympics for her. I mean, if she says she's injured, she's injured. It's just very convenient that she is healthy when it's time for the Olympics, but she is not healthy before.
So if she played for the W, she can't. Don't come over here.
Yeah, so I think. And this is just 100% me speculating, but I would feel some kind of way because she's the key to that team. She can switch, she can run your offense. She's a unicorn for a reason, and she sat out because her shoulder hurt. They've had injuries. Maddie Seegers broke her finger. Natasha Howard broke her foot 10 minutes into the first game. Like, they've just had bad luck. But I would feel some kind of way if Satu is telling me I can't play. And it's the Olympics, and all of a sudden she out there looking great. Like, I would feel some kind of way if I was a teammate.
Let me ask you something I thought about.
Yep.
When it comes to, I'm taking it back to the NFL, maybe the NBA, or any of these professional sports, and we hear about, like, we use the Bengals, for example, wanting to be cheap. What if you found out that some of these teams have been scarred from previous contract situations, i.e., they give a player 3 years over 120.
Right.
make him one of the highest paid players at his position. No, actually, no. They give someone 4 years, $80 million,
Mm-hmm.
20 million a year, right? 40
I
million, 40 million guaranteed money. So they give you half of it straight up.
I think you can learn from
Oh,
past.
I'm not done. Hold on, hold on.
Okay, my bad, my bad.
So after giving them this contract, maybe like a month or two later, when it's time to report, you find out they need surgery. They have a broken foot. But when they get evaluated, you find out their foot's been broken than way longer than you thought. But you already paid them the money. Guarantees already coming in. What if that happens a few times? How eager are you to pay? How eager are you to start paying players quickly, like fans want? Even if you don't always believe there's shiesty play at work, because accidents do happen, things happen, situations happen.
I would say
At what point do you not get scarred as a organization, and then you start trying to get smarter with how you construct rosters? Yeah, and I'm gonna let you go before I skip to my next one.
I would say there's a way to learn from that and not be scarred. Like, okay, the broken foot, pass the physical before this contract, like stuff like that. Because, and I'll use the Eagles as an example, right? They paid Carson Wentz, it didn't work out. That did not prevent them from paying Jalen, but there were some things that had to have happened before Jalen got paid, and that was thanks to Carson.
Touche.
Who are you talking about?
Um, Nothing. I was watching. Bill Belichick is like a repeat guest on the Pat McAfee show.
Mhm.
And I love hearing Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, Michael Lombardi kind of just speak to the behind the scenes aspect, the real front office aspect about the NFL. And one thing that Lombardi was talking about, like this morning when he was speaking to the Packers QB trade, for example, he was like, sometimes because of how the waivers work, they work very similar to how they do in fantasy football. Record gets better, chances at the waivers, whatever. So he was like, sometimes you see these deals when we get like close to the season, these random deals, and you see these names, you're like, why would they trade for him? And it's only like a 6 or 7 round pick, but it's basically they're sending future picks. Basically, how they do it is it's like for the Packers, for example, they essentially sent a 7th round pick next year for a backup QB instead of letting him hit the waivers, which he probably was going to, and another team who probably needed a QB before them could get him. Let's just trade for him using a 7th round pick who we can get another 7th round pick next year if we really need it, or fuck the 7th round pick. It's a 7th round pick. That's why it's a 7th round pick. So you start seeing a lot of deals like that. And then when Bill Belichick's talking about like how they used to, for example, if he was like with certain veteran players, if you know that their contract's fully guaranteed when they start the season, then you cut them, put them on the practice squad. So then you don't have to pay them the full amount, and then you bring them off the practice squad for like week 1, 2, and that way you're like, and like he was.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it's stuff like that these teams, like our favorite teams, are doing on the regular. So it sounds like kind of fucked up when you talk about it, but at the same time, if you understand a business and a hard salary cap, then you understand that there are people who are getting paid like a lot of money to work these numbers and make things work and figure out how to.
That's the point. That's the good GMs, right? That separates.
And that's why when you hear these NFL players or NBA players and they talk about, you ask them money or the ring, I think this is why I see why so many of them say the money first, because they're gonna find a way to not pay you.
Yes.
But they never gonna find a way to not want to win the ring, because they know you're gonna you're gonna want to win. But they don't.
Right.
But they're not.
Everybody's trying to win a ring. Not everyone's trying to pay you.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking. WWE, we got Bash in Berlin. So we'll start off with a few RIPs, man. There was Kevin Sullivan, Afa Anoa, and Sid Vicious all passed away since our last show. So we want to send our heavy condolences to the WWE family, their friends, family who love and respect them, all their fans out here. I know this is a sad day in the pro wrestling, or sad week in the pro wrestling community. And prayers out to Roman Reigns and his family. I know it's been a tough time.
They've had a tough summer.
It's been a tough summer. People love. Listen, reach out to your loved ones. Tell them you love them. Time and life is short. All right. We can run through these predictions for Bash in Berlin rather quickly. Jade and Bianca versus the Unholy Union for the Women's Tag Team Championship.
You got to legitimize Unholy Union because right now I don't think people take them seriously. I think beating Jade and Bianca would do that. I also think we might start getting the seeds for the Jade heel turn.
I like it. I'm with you. I think Triple H is really trying to establish Unholy Union. I think he would have put the belts on them so fast if he was going to take it off of them so fast. So I'm with you. I like Unholy Union on this one. KO versus Cody Rhodes for is it Universal?
Undisputed.
Yeah, Undisputed.
It's going to be Cody. Cody not going to lose to Kevin in Berlin. Whether it be shenanigans, maybe, but I don't know where the shenanigans would come from.
We're going to see a Kevin Owens heel turn. It's going to be after like a bloodline or something attack per usual. We're going to see a Kevin Owens heel turn. But it's going to come after Cody wins the match fair and square.
Yeah, and a Kevin Owens heel is the best Kevin Owens. I hate face Kevin Owens.
Yeah, it's not as fun. The mixed tag team match of love: Dom and Liv versus Rhea and Damian.
Dom and Liv win because of New Judgment Day shenanigans. This story is far from over. It does not end with a clean win in Berlin.
Your early thoughts on the new Judgment Day?
I like it. I like how Triple H is handling this. I don't know how much story we have left of the Angry X, but I think it goes a little bit longer than Berlin because the next one's Survivor Series, right?
Yeah, I think if you heard him on Raw, they mentioned how Dom's entering the Intercontinental Championship.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be the next storyline. So I'm with you. I think Dom and Liv win. I think they're trying to win over Dom. I think they got to get Dom over in a way, even if that means like it wouldn't surprise me if Dom versus what's my man's name? Braun Breaker becomes a thing. So like he loses, like Braun wins the first time. Then they have a rematch. Judgment Day helps Dom win on the second go round, and then that helps bring more championships to the Judgment Day. I think it could be like an Intercontinental Women's World Heavyweight Championship thing. I don't know if they have the tag team championships, do they?
They don't.
Yeah, I don't think so. What about the LA Knight Open Challenge for the US Championship?
The thing that made John Cena a great U.S. champion is that he was always willing to defend it. I think LA Knight's going that same route. Again, LA Knight is over, but how seriously do you take LA Knight as Intercontinental? I mean, as a U.S. champion?
None.
Like I kind of believe it, but I don't. Well, you don't like him anyway, so
I'm trying to give him a.
I mean, I'm not a big fan either, but
what everybody's saying.
I think he says way too much, but whatever. But yeah, I'm trying to think who his challenger would be. Like who could challenge him that could put him over more, make him seem like a legitimate champion. I don't know. Is it John Cena? Maybe. Doubt it.
Nah, it's got to be someone. It's got to be like a. It wouldn't surprise me if like a AJ Styles came back.
Yeah, I was like, who is set to return? Like who is, because Escobar is not a legitimate opponent for the U.S. title. Yeah, no, like I get, seriously, but I don't know.
We'll see.
I'm not excited to watch it.
I like LA Knight to retain as well. In my prediction for match of the night, Randy Orton versus Gunther. I think Gunther's going to retain, but listen, man, Gunther going to give you a match.
Yeah. Give me if they have the same match they had at King of the Ring.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah, it was good stuff. It was good stuff. What are your thoughts on them doing more international shows like this?
If there's one thing Triple H learned from Vince McMahon is how can we make more money?
More money, more.
I don't think Vince. I don't know if it's Vince didn't have the vision or he didn't understand how to take this global. Because they used to have shows at the O2 Arena, right? Like they were once a year, they'd go over across the river. They'd have some shows at the O2 Arena. I think Triple H has really honed in on, especially now that a lot of superstars are international. Oh, Rhea's from Australia. Let's have one in Australia. Let's have one in Ireland. Let's have one in Berlin. Because Gunther is German, right?
He's like Austrian.
Okay. I thought he was German because, yeah, that's right up his alley.
Yeah, he's like Austrian or something like that. Um, uh, did you? I don't know. How do you watch the Pat McAfee show or not?
So full disclosure, I'm not a big Pat McAfee fan. I don't get it. He's a great WWE commentator, but sports commentator, he just doesn't do anything for me.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't watch Pat McAfee.
Really? Well, last week they were in Dublin, or whatever for the
For
college.
FSU.
Yeah, and they had a show out there, and um, it actually was. It looked like it was a good time. Nick Saban was out there. Man, let me tell you something. When Nick Saban can really come, he gave so much knowledge. He gave so much knowledge. Like he was on there. He's going to be. How often do you watch College Game Day?
I love College Game Day.
So
I
Nick
think,
Saban,
like I said, I think he's great on College Game Day too.
so Nick Saban's going to be a featured guest this season on College Game Day. It should be like a really good time. And he's going to give us.
Can We Talk?
I'm just listen. It's just a music bed. It's just a music
Okay,
bed.
okay.
It's just a music bed. Yeah, I think he's going to be great. But he was basically just talking about like things that he missed and about. He's basically talking about like what's newly different about college football now, and he's basically like, yo, they got like free agents out here. Like
Yeah.
it's like free, like it's like you're basically talking to someone about like for them to come here, they're gonna need this, and that be the conversation. Before it used to be conversations about how to develop them as a man, as a football player, as a person, as a student. Now it's like, hey, if you pay him this, my person will come here. That's where we're at.
Like I said, I think we're going to get to a space, and this is the other side of the coin. It's great that players are getting paid, but we're going to get to a space where college kids are going to have agents.
They kind of already do.
They kind of already do.
And we got some good chats in, man. This has been a really good show, man. This has been a really, really good show. Danny, why don't you let the people know where they can find you at?
You can find me on the Bird app at DannyOcean41. You can find us on @SpeakOnIt_pod, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Are we anywhere else? I think that's it. I think that's everywhere we're at.
Listen, TikTok, Twitter, obviously shout out Going for Two and that network. Shout out to the family at Going for Two. Shout out Jeff. Shout out Kyle. Shout out I mean, really the whole full family's fantasy sports dog, Jamie, everyone over at Going for Two. You guys are always some of the greatest people ever. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at Los D Mix. That is at LOSDEEMIX. Ladies and gentlemen, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here tonight with Danny and myself, and all we could do was really thank you. We're going to be off next week.
Yes.
Dealing with the family stuff and whatnot, and we're getting ready for the NFL kickoff. So we got some, we do got some fantasy drafts that we got to get ready for ourselves. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. And all we can do is just appreciate. Listen, if you got some things to speak on, make sure you go out here and speak on it, because that's all we need.
That's all we need.
That's all we need. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with us on a Tuesday night. Enjoy your week 1 of college football and go Hokies. We're going out to Vanderbilt. Where's UVA playing?
Who cares? They play Richmond in Richmond, I believe.
That's not bad.
Well, Richmond's ranked like top 5 in FCS, I believe.
They might give you all the business.
So
go Hokies. We're going down to Vanderbilt. Enjoy your week 1 in the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. And if you like that girl, sometimes you just got to ask her.
See y'all in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Y'all have a great one.